afternoon, CMS families. Thank you for joining this week's Family Academy Lunch and Learn CMS School Choice Lottery. We are so glad to have you here with us, and are joined by our fabulous team, and we'll have Miss Viva Cowan joining us to share additional information regarding the CMS school choice process. Please sign in using the bit.ly that is displayed on the screen and will be added to the Q&A document. If you're in need of translation support on today's call, please select Captions from the top right-hand corner of your screen. From there, you'll select Show Live Captions, then select from the drop-down the language of your choosing. Once again, if you need any language supports, please select Captions from the top right-hand corner of your screen, followed by Show Live Captions, and then select the language of your choosing from the drop-down. And we are excited to engage with you on today's call. So please, for any questions, use the Q&A feature by selecting Q&A in the top right-hand corner of your screen. A type box will appear where you're able to add any questions you may have that will be answered by the presenter on the call. Additionally, we love to react and engage with you guys. If you have any reactions, a like, a love, a hand clap for any new learning, please share those using that react feature. And at this time, I am excited to turn it over to our specialist, Ms. Viva Cowan.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. As she mentioned, I am Viva Cowan from the Student Placement, and I will be representing student registration this afternoon as well. How can you contact us? We're located at the Bishop Spa Administrative Building. That's located at 1901 Herbert Spa Lane, and that's in Charlotte, North Carolina, 28208. Or you can reach us by phone at 980-343-5335. And we have several email addresses. We have the CMS enrollment email. Any enrollment questions, any enrollment documents that need to be submitted can be submitted to the CMS enrollment at cms.k12.nc.us. If you have any school choice questions, that can be emailed to schoolchoice@cms.k12.nc.us. And finally, if you have any student placement related issues, and that relates to any transfers, that is studentplacement@cms.k12.nc.us. So how to enroll in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools? And I'm sure a lot of you have these questions, so we're going to try to answer them for you this afternoon. So as most of you know, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools is an online registration only. We no longer enroll at the schools. So if you can see, you have to scan the QR code, which will take you exactly to the registration portal. So that is on our website at cmsk12.org. Then the step 2, you click on the registration portal link. And as you can see, it would display the online registration for 26-27. But right below that, if you want to enroll for the current year, it also has online registration for the current year, which is 25-26. And then you would click register. So online registration, you would choose one of the following. You either start a new registration, that's for a brand new enrollment. So if your student attended CMS last year, 2 years ago, it is still a new enrollment, new registration. So you would click brand new enrollment. If you started an application and for some reason you had to get off the application to return, you would click return to save registration. This is if you have previously started an application or need to upload documents. And this is what what it would look like on the screen: start new registration or return to new save registration. And you would click one of those boxes and hit next. The next step is you would select the correct application year. If you're enrolling for this current school year, which is the 25-26 enrollment year, you would click the 25-26. However, if most of you are enrolling for the lottery and you're doing the future enrollment for 26-27 enrollment application, you would click the 26-27 enrollment application and then select next. And the step 5 is you will begin completing the registration application. And this is where you will enter all the information. The first page will be the parent information. And then you just follow the prompts for each section of the application. Some important reminders. You may want to write down your application because unfortunately, when you start the application, it does not email you the application number. That populates on the screen once you fill out the information. So we encourage you to write that number down or take a screenshot of that number. In case you need to follow up with the application, you will have that application number. That will be located at the right top of your application. You will need this number when you're contacting our office or pre-K office. The fastest way to locate your application is through the application number. So what are the required enrollment documents? And we get this question a lot. CMS requires a parent or guardian to provide the following documents: a certified copy of the birth certificate or birth certificate enrollment requirement form, the immunization record, the proof of residency, last report card or unofficial transcript, which is high school, or driver's license of parent or guardian. The proof of birth can also be a passport. If you see to the right of the screen, it lists the required documents that you can use for enrollment. As I mentioned, a birth certificate or passport, immunization record. For proof of residency, one of the proofs of residence must be a deed, a lease, or a mortgage statement. Then the next required document has to be a bill dated within the last 30 days with the parent's name on it, the parent or guardian's name on it, or it can be a driver's license, driver's insurance card, insurance bill. Those are the required documents for enrollment. Now, the 2026-2027 lottery, which is now ongoing. If most of you know, it opened on October 13th. It will end December 5th. So if you have not already enrolled your student for either this year or the 26-27, we encourage you to do so as soon as possible. So the first step, if you want to participate in the 2026-27 choice lottery, you must first register in CMS and get your student ID. I'll say that again. You must first register in CMS and get your student ID. You no longer need a PIN number to participate in the lottery. The next step is once your student is enrolled and you get a student ID number, you can explore your options on our website or attend some events that we recently had for Choice Lottery. You would then submit your choice in the lottery application. You do have up to 3 options. You're not required to submit 3, but you do have the option to submit 3. And the results will be available within a few weeks. Those dates will be released. The results of the lottery will be released January 15th to January 16th. You
Diva, I'm
connect
here. Did you want me to jump in now? It's Kayla B.
Yeah. Hi, Kayla. Thank you for jumping in. I was just
Yes.
finishing up the 2026, this first slide that's on the screen.
Perfect. Thank you. And we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Perfect. As Eva just mentioned, you do need to make sure that you are registered as a student here in CMS to be able to participate in the lottery. Future registration does end November 21st, and that does give families enough time to be able to then place their lottery application. If you're already a CMS student, all you need is your student ID. As mentioned, you do not need your PIN this year. So for any CMS family, if you just want to know how to access your PIN, you can do that through Parent Square. And there are 2 options on the screen. You can select, you can review your student ID through the Parent Square app or through the website itself. And they're highlighted here in the images on the screen. So during the time before you choose your lottery selections, as Viva mentioned, there are 3 selections. Your work really as parents is really understanding the different themes in schools that really can interest your child. Our school choice website was recently revamped, so you're able to look at all of the different options available to you. We also do have open house information sessions listed directly on the website, so you're able to see district-wide the different events that are happening so that you can go ahead and join. So on the screen here, there is just a screenshot of the school choice website. You'll see there are 2 green buttons. The first one is apply for the lottery. That will take you to the lottery site. The lottery site this year is different than last year, which is why a PIN is not required. We are using the same system as we do for transfers. So the transfer system was launched this summer, and now we're using that same system for the lottery. Also available on the website is the step-by-step instruction guide, and that is the second green box there. A note here is you do not need to use a lottery to request a transfer to your home school. That is something that was used in the past, but you would not need to do that. And it's just a reminder that the lottery application ends December 5th. So though the step-by-step instructions are only available in English, as you can see on the left image of the screen, I wanted to highlight that the actual lottery website, you do have an option to select several different languages from the drop-down. So you'll see that box there, that yellow box around select language. You can go ahead and transition to several different languages available to you. And the instructions themselves were pulled from the application. So that will be putting all instructions for you in the language that you select. Lottery results will be available to families in January. We'll actually release the first round of those January 6th. Parents will have 10 days to accept the application or accept the placement, and then we'll release them again for the second wave there. And you do have the option to request a transfer to your homeschool during the transfer reassignment window, because a lot of parents question, well, if we're not using the lottery to transfer to our homeschool, then when do we? And that all of that information is available on the placement website as well. So after the lottery, there's the waitlist process. If you don't get into your first choice, you will be placed on the waitlist and then randomly assigned a waitlist number. As the seats open up, you'll get called from the waitlist in the order that you're assigned your number. In this year, waitlist is a little bit different. So you can be on more than one waitlist at a time, but when a seat is offered to you, and when you do accept a seat, you will then be off of the waitlist. So that is a little bit different, but that gives you some options this year. This is just highlighting the key dates. Again, new student registration running from now until November 21st. You then should be looking at the different options and attend open houses. Choice lottery ends December 5th, and then results are shared in January.
So now I'll pick back up with some of the key process for student placement. Thank you, Kayla B. First, I would like to introduce our team. Our executive director is Patrice Braswell. Our director is Kayla McAdoo, myself, Viva Cowan, a placement specialist. We have 2 other placement specialists, Ramon Spears and Justin Stitt. So some of the things we cover at student placement, reassignment transfer requests. As Kelly Britta mentioned, that reassignment transfer portal opens up in March for future year for 26-27. We cover residency appeals and documentation verification. We also assist with residency affidavit documents, and those are the families who currently cannot provide a mortgage or lease in their name. We process independent student application as well as process hardship caregiver applications. The reassignment transfer request, Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools offer students the opportunity to request placement in a different school or program through the request for reassignment transfer process. Requests are not accepted by schools on the closed school list, and we have our closed school list listed here. It is also on our website. Essentially, what this is saying, if your child is assigned to the neighborhood school, you do have the opportunity to either transfer to a different school within your district or a magnet program within the district. So how does the transfer reassignment request work? It pertains to students who are new or re-enrolling in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools versus transfer requests are for students currently enrolled in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. Students new to the district have 10 days to request a reassignment. And then transportation is the only guarantee if the request is to the student's home school or magnet program within that transportation zone. And how do you submit a reassignment transfer request? So reassignment transfer requests are submitted through the CMS website. It is called Parchment. You would go to cmsk12.org. Your next step is to click on the Departments tab, then choose Student Planning, Placement, and Programs from the drop-down menu. So the next screen you will see is, it says scroll down, click the transfer reassignment icon. It is the purple box that says transfer reassignment. You will click that box. And then you would select the 25-26 reassignment transfer form. However, if you're doing it for 26-27, when that portal opens in March, then of course you would click 26-27 reassignment transfer form. And once you click on the 25-26 transfer link, it will take you to the next screen. You would select Start to create your account by selecting Start Login. Most parents have already created a login. If you've already created a login, you would just simply log back into your account. If you do not already have one, you would create an account on this page. Once your account has been created, you complete the reassignment transfer form, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You would just go and fill in the information for the students that you're submitting the transfer form for. Please keep in mind the district has transitioned to a fully digital process. So in the past, families would receive a letter once the transfer was approved. That is no longer the case. Families will no longer receive physical letters regarding reassignment or transfer decisions. Instead, all notifications, whether approvals or denials, will be sent via email, and it will be sent to the email in the parents portal. And Ms. Molly, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much. And families, thank you guys for having such great questions for our team. I know we've gone over some complex processes, and we have some great questions to go over. Our first question for the team is, how long does it take to receive a student ID?
Hello, you on here? Do you want me to answer that?
That's a registration question. I don't know exactly how long it's taking right now to complete the registration. Do you know anything outside of
Yeah,
that,
we
Viva?
typically tell parents to give it at least a couple of business days, because it depends on the flux of transfers the requests they actually have in the system.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
the point there, I think a lot of parents don't realize that it does, there are humans that are looking through the registration application. So they are working through them.
Absolutely. Thank you. Our next question is, my daughter's in fourth grade and we've already submitted her form. Can I submit a request for my son? He's in pre-K so they can go to the same school.
Are you referring through the
Yeah.
lottery?
Yeah, that's what I would assume whenever they say form, I'm thinking they're meaning the lottery. So yes,
Lottery,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
you can go ahead and submit it for your pre-K student. Just keep in mind you do have to complete the future registration first to be able to get that student ID.
Thank you. With schools that are within our magnet and school choice programming, are they required to have open houses?
So that's not a requirement. It's definitely something that we do suggest. And I think I answered this in the chat, is if there is a school that doesn't have an open house and you were interested in attending, please just reach out to the school directly. They definitely want to ensure that they are meeting the needs of the community. So they would definitely accommodate you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Our next question shares that their interest in the lottery isn't for a few more years within the 29-30 school year. Are there benefits to enrolling earlier? They're looking at the high school pathways within.
So the thing is, if you enroll and the student doesn't attend school for the year that you enroll, after the 10th date, it will be dropped out of the system. So I don't know if there's a benefit unless the student is going to actually attend school up until the 29-30 lottery.
Wonderful. If you're unable to schedule or attend the scheduled open house that a school is hosting, is there an opportunity to schedule school tours?
Yeah, so they would
Yeah,
need to reach out to the principal and
exactly.
to request a tour. Sorry,
Thank you.
Kayla.
Nope, that was my exact answer. So you got it.
You know, great minds working together for our families today. So our next questions for our younger students, for Bright Beginnings in the Montessori Pre-K, are Montessori lottery placements always released before the Bright Beginnings? Is there a way to receive placements within both and then choose?
So I am speaking a little out of term as far as what's on the registration, but I do know whenever you register, there's a question specific to pre-K. So if you wanted to do the lottery and Bright Beginnings, I would suggest that you select yes to that option on the registration form. So that means that you're eligible for both. As far as the lottery placement, we follow the same for the Montessori seats. We follow the same deadline as we would for any other. And so those seats are released in January.
Great information. Thank you. If a family has the student ID, but they cannot start the application because it says that the student is not found, what next steps should they take?
Yes, that is an error for some families, and I think Molly put in the chat the FAQ there. It is a known error. We're not sure of the rhyme or reason, but some families, when they register, the system is not picking up their student ID. Our tech teams are with Parchment and CMS are working closely to find a resolution, and will ensure to update all families impacted the moment that we get that resolved.
Thank you. If a family is currently enrolled within the magnet programs at the elementary school and they are at a grade that's going to transition to the next level, so they're in 5th grade, moving to middle school, how do they go about finding which pathway is best to follow for their magnet program, or not necessarily just their home school?
Yeah, absolutely. So some programs have automatic continuation into the next grade.
Mhm.
So they should definitely be connecting with the counselors in school level there. That's something that the school should definitely be aware of. But if you're looking to explore other options, then that would be obviously connecting with the other schools. If you do have any specific questions for a specific school, then definitely reach out to School Choice and send us an email, and we're able to help support you with finding those answers.
What is the best way to contact a school to get information such as a student ID number?
So most schools, they have their phone numbers listed on the website. If you go to that school, and their numbers are listed on the website, so they can reach out to the counselor, to the data managers. And if they're unable to reach the data managers, they can always call student placement, because we can provide student IDs as well.
Wonderful, great options. Our next question is, if a student applies and is accepted to a magnet school but changes their mind before the year starts, can they opt out of that acceptance and return to their home school?
Yes, they absolutely can. That means they obviously are giving up the seat. So then they wouldn't be able to just, if things change again, you wouldn't automatically get back in that seat, but you can go ahead and withdraw from the program and then transfer back to your home school.
Thank you. We have a family that has previously been a CMS family and is currently enrolled at a local private school. Do they need to redo the enrollment process, or are they able to use the former student ID within the school choice?
So they would need to re-enroll. If they're currently in a charter school or a private school outside of CMS, they would need to enroll first. Now, they would keep the same student ID number, but they would still have to re-enroll first.
Thank you. Can you share more about the changes to the waitlist process? Are you placed on a waitlist for every school you're not accepted to? If you are accepted to your first choice, would you still be waitlisted for your second and third options?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, one thing that we'll definitely have is just some more guidance around waitlist in general, since this is a new process. We're still working on making sure all of that information is kind of ironed out. But I'll answer the last question first. So, if you accept a seat at any of your choices, or let's say you accept a seat off of the waitlist, then that means that you are then off of the waitlist of the other programs, right? Because you've now accepted a seat. But let's say you're waitlisted for all of your choices, all three of them, you get to stay on the wait list for all three until you do receive a seat and then accept it. I hope
Wonderful.
that answers the question.
Thank you. It does. Um, A follow-up question is, if a student doesn't get accepted within their first choice school, is there a second round lottery? So if we don't make it in, we're waitlisted at all three schools in the first round. Is there an additional opportunity to apply to more schools?
No, so the lottery itself will not run again, but we will continue to give out seats. So that's the point of the waitlist process there is as parents are accepting and declining seats, that makes seats available. And then you could then pool, you can again have your seat that way. So for January's results, we'll do the first round January 6th, and by round, I mean offering seats. Based off of those answers, then we'll go ahead and offer the next round of seats in January. And then after that, it's just pulling from waitlist.
Okay, wonderful, perfect. So those three wait lists are key. Our next question is, does the school choice process change if there's an early admission to kindergarten involved?
Can you repeat that,
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not
Molly?
sure which meant early
Yeah.
admission.
Does the process change if there's an early admission to kindergarten involved? So I think this would be more for an AIG TD student who might enter early or something.
The lottery process itself is the same, so there's no change on that
Mhm.
end. I'm not sure if the question is maybe around grade placement really, but the lottery
Mhm.
process is the same for all students.
Thank
Because
you.
I would imagine if they apply for the lottery as a pre-K and they get early grade placement, that may affect their lottery, the seat for them in that particular grade from pre-K to kindergarten. Maybe that's what they're referring to.
And families, if you have specific questions related to your student, please reach out to our team. I know everyone is happy to help and support you with these more individualized questions as well.
Yeah,
Our next que
absolutely.
our next question shared is, I'm trying to enroll my daughter in pre-K, but the system says student ID is not matched to my student. Will I lose my place if that is not resolved? I know we shared about making our team aware. Is there any placement in that wait list concerns for our families?
No. So, if we're talking about the lottery application, the lottery is a true lottery. So while this window is open, there's no placement, right? So you can wait to apply in the lottery in the very last day. It doesn't increase or decrease your chances in any way. And we will definitely resolve this way before the December 5th deadline. We'll make sure that every family impacted will have the opportunity to apply in the lottery. Absolutely.
Thank you. Is there any priority given for younger siblings who will have an older sibling at the school that they are applying to within the lottery?
Yes, there are some priority placements that are available within the lottery. That's also listed in the FAQ document and on the school choice website. So there are things like proximity priority, siblings, and transportation zone.
Thank you. For our pre-K families who are within the Montessori program, are they eligible to enter into the lottery for the kindergarten program?
If they're in Montessori program already, then they would not need to enter into the lottery. They already have the placement in there because Montessori seats open in pre-K.
Perfect. Thank you. If my application is on hold because I need to submit a missing document, how can I log back in to upload it if I'm getting your registration has been submitted when trying to log back in?
So you will return, as I mentioned, to that registration piece where it says start new registration or return to saved application. They would return to a saved application. It's going to ask them for the information that the parent inputted previously and the application number. Then they can go back to that application. We're aware that a lot of parents are having a hard time logging back in to upload documents, and they can reach out to CMS enrollment team to get those documents uploaded for them.
Thank you. One family shares that they haven't received their son's student ID number and their home school was unsure of how to access it. Is there how should they go about receiving that information?
Once again, they can contact the student placement office or registration team, and we can, kind of research to see if the application has been processed. If it has, we can provide that student ID number for them.
Wonderful. And families, I'm going to flip back to that contact slide for any of these more unique questions for families that are sharing they've had a few issues as they've worked through the lottery process. Our next question shares, let me see here. My child is currently attending an early college, but is considering another high school option for a more traditional experience. If he enters the lottery, does he have to go to the school that is chosen, or can he opt to stay where he is?
So the parents or all parents would have to accept seats at the lottery. So everything is digital, as we mentioned before. So if you are receiving a seat from the wait list, you'll receive an email and it will tell you the deadline you have to accept or decline the seat.
Thank you. And we have a few questions that are very similar. So if a family does not accept a seat within an alternative pathway, they will not lose their seat in their current pathway, correct?
That's
Correct.
correct.
Yes, they would only lose their seat if they are accepting the seat.
Perfect. And I'm just doing a double check to make sure. Can we do a quick overview of the difference between our charter and private schools versus the magnet schools and Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools?
Well, Charlotte, let me try to make sure I understand the question. So for CMS, we don't have any charter or
private schools, right?
Right. The only alternative options we have would be those choice schools or magnet programs. And there are over 71 schools in general for that. And they're all listed on the school choice website.
And CMS is the public school, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg public schools, whereas, of course, private is paid and then their charter schools. So I think that's the difference. I think parents kind of link them all together, so things charter CMS, and it's not. They're separate entities.
Thank you. For any families who are currently in a terminal grade, if they're unsure about placement for next year, their child's in 5th grade, do they need to choose a middle school or will the schools handle it directly? How do they find out those next steps?
So if they're in a terminal grade at a middle school, they would transition to the high school, their neighborhood high school. But if they're in a magnet program, then that would be the continuation for 6th grade to that magnet program. If they want to venture off that path and go to a different school other than the neighborhoods, the continuation neighborhood school, then that's when they would put in a transfer request.
Yeah, exactly. Or applying the lottery for a different choice program.
Yes.
Thank you. We have a family that shared that they received an email that their enrollment was accepted, but their student ID was blank within the email. Is that intentional? Was there supposed to be a student ID within that email, and would they need to do any follow-up?
They can do some follow-up because those emails are sent by the registration team. And as we mentioned, we're human over here. So sometimes they may have forgot to put the student ID number in, but they can reach out to one of the numbers or the team, the emails request the student ID number.
Thank you. One family has asked if their goal is to attend the same school as a sibling, should they only list one school on their lottery application? Does that help their chances?
That doesn't impact the chances in any way or help the chances. So I would say definitely use the lottery to your advantage, so that they can try and, think about the alternative programming. But there is that sibling priority built in within the lottery.
Thank you. Our next question is just to clarify, if a student is currently enrolled in a CMS magnet school, do we still go through the new enrollment process?
No,
No.
No, they do
not if they're
not. If you're
currently enrolled,
currently
no.
enrolled, yeah.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Can you please explain how the SES priority works?
So
Are you saying
working with,
SES?
so
Yes.
that is one of the priorities on the lottery. Yes. So having your
SP,
SES data.
SPP?
No, the student economic information. So
Okay,
there are a
okay,
few
yes,
questions
yes.
in the lottery that the parents have to answer,
Yeah.
and that does have a priority within the lottery system. So if you want more details around that, that is on our website. It's pretty complicated, but it is one of the factors within the lottery system. And the goal with that is just making sure that there's equitable access for all students and all of our programs.
Thank you. What determines if you should apply for a reassignment transfer versus the lottery?
So reassignment is if you're brand new to the district, you've never been enrolled in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, or you're returning after you have left. That is a reassignment period where you actually have 10 days to submit a transfer. And the lottery is only doing that lottery period, which is what is going on now for the upcoming school year.
And the lottery placement is just for choice schools. So if you're
Schools,
looking for
yes.
placement at a school that doesn't have a choice or magnet program, then that would just be a transfer.
Reassignment, yes.
Thank you. Our next question is, where do we find the bus pickup location for a specific school if our child is accepted?
I believe all that
That-
information will be sent from transportation,
Yes. Mhm.
because you do have to do an intent to ride form as we
Right.
get closer to the school year, and then the transportation based off of those who have submitted their intent to ride form, they then send the route information to parents.
Thank you. Um, w- what is the probability of a family receiving a seat at a school that is outside of their transportation zone?
It is definitely there is a probability for that, and definitely an option. That's why the priority placements and transportation, all of those don't say guarantee. It just says that priority towards it. So you can absolutely have a spot outside of your transportation zone, but you do have an increased chance of getting it if it is within your transportation zone.
Thank you. Can you please re-highlight, are the results emailed or will families need to check back on the website?
All results will be emailed.
Thank you.
But that's why they have to create that account whenever you're doing the lottery. It's important that you be able to log back into your family dashboard. If you've done a transfer before, then you don't need to create a new account for it. But most families, this is new to them, so they will need to create an account to be able to apply in the lottery.
Absolutely. Families, I'm seeing some questions that are being shared a few times over. So just to re-highlight a few key takeaways, and Kayla, please pop in and add to. Having a sibling already at the school is a benefit, but it is not a guarantee for placement. So please apply where your siblings are enrolled. If you're having any issues with receiving a student ID number, the emails you're receiving, or any information regarding the student ID number, please reach out to your child's homeschool or school of enrollment. And if you're still having issue, please reach out to our student placement team. If you accept a seat within the lottery, you will be taken off of the wait list for your second and third choice, but you are able to return back to your homeschool if you choose. And those are just a few highlights that I'm seeing that we've had a few questions even coming in the last few 5 minutes that I know we've talked about. And at that time, families, I think that we have a few more that have come in also. If you want to exit your pathway of programming from Magnet IB and go into your home high school, do you need to use the lottery, or is that a transfer application?
That would be a transfer application.
Thank you. If our homeschool if your homeschool, I believe this might be a partial magnet and they want to attend the feeder middle school for the pathway, but it is no longer their homeschool, so they're attending as a home family, would they need to apply for a lottery seat rather than a home seat?
Yeah, so if it's a partial magnet and you're attending the attendance boundary, but maybe the school's transitioning to a full magnet, or you want to attend the magnet program in that school, then you would need to apply in the lottery. Unless this is a one-off. If you have a specific question, definitely just email it to us and I could look into your more specific needs.
Thank you. Um, Home ownership is not a requirement for residency or attendance within any of our school programming. If you could please re-highlight what is required for registration for proof of residency, please.
Okay, so no, home ownership is not required. However, you must be able to provide two proofs of residence that you do reside in Mecklenburg County. We have the process called residency appeal, and that is for families who are unable to provide like a lease or mortgage because they're not homeowners. Maybe they're living with someone, or maybe they just pay the utilities at the home they're living in. They can go through the residency appeal process that is submitted to the student placement office for processing.
Thank you. Do any of our schools have more placement opportunity or seats available, or is that something that's taken into consideration?
So the actual number of seats can can be different at each of the schools. It just depends on how that programming was kind of built out, and depends if it was if it's a full choice school or a partial choice school. So that gets very specific to the school.
Thank you. A follow-up question to the residency question has come through. What if a family owns multiple properties and would like to enroll at their non-residential properties homeschool? What would that process be?
So they would still do the enrollment and they would have to provide the proof of residence for wherever they wanted to, enroll that student. So if they have like a rental property, but they live someone else and they want to, I'm assuming want to use a rental property address, is that maybe what they're referring to?
I believe that's the question. Further to the resident question, what if we have a second property and prefer to go to that homeschool?
Yeah, and they would just have to provide the proof of residence for that property.
Um, And then the next question we have is if we get accepted to our first homeschool but decline that seat, are we automatically accepted to our second choice?
No, it wouldn't be automatic. It would depend if you're on the wait list for the other schools.
Thank you. Do most of our elementary magnet schools have a middle school continuation?
Yes, most of them do.
Thank you. Families, you have asked a great questions today, great process questions. Thank you so much for your engagement, and a special thank you to our student placement and school choice team. If there are any other questions after today's call, please feel free to reach out to your child's school or the information that has been shared on the screen. We appreciate your collaboration today, and we hope that this information has been beneficial to you. Thank you for being a member of the CMS community, and we look forward to seeing you next week.